Hey, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm so happy to be here today. Listen, y'all know who I am. I'm John Stevenson, and I want to welcome you all to another conversation at the wall. Y'all know I have some good people. I know some great people. You hear me? I got some good friends. Let me tell you, people call it tribe, your clique, or whatever you want to call it. I just call it my circle of love. I guess that could be. Can we call it that, JaNeise?
That sounds great to me.
Love.
That works.
Anyway, part of my circle of love is one of my good friends. I met this young lady, oh my God, 7, 8 years ago over at Radio One. And it's wild saying that, isn't it? 7, 8 years
Yeah.
ago.
Wow.
And when I first got into radio, a huge help and tremendous help to me. But she wasn't just working at Radio One. She had a lot going on, and she's got a lot going on now. And so welcome to this conversation at the wall, Miss
Hey.
JaNeise Sturdivant. What's going on,
Oh.
lady?
Can I tell you, Mr. John Stevenson? Let me just give the proper title. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. When I tell you all, this man right here, let me just salute and affirm him because he does so much as far as, praising others. But I just got to say, you all, this is an amazing man of God, husband, father. He is truly somebody that is genuine. He's the same no matter when or where you see him. And that's the type of the love that you want to have around you, especially this day and time. You want to have that type of positive, good spirited energy. And like he said back, I didn't realize Radio One was like 7, 8 years ago. What in the world?
It was a while because I think I started. Let me think. I started in 2015. So it was a
Wow.
6 years.
It's still a long time. You
I
know why it's
know.
a long time? Because I remember when you came. I remember when you started. It was like you, and then there's a couple of other hosts, Sean Perry. Like all you all just kind of came around the same time,
Yeah.
and you all were just getting into like the whole industry as far as just the radio. And you have some people that come and they have their shows and they're not sure of the flow of radio, but John, he came in, he had his stuff, he had everything. I was just like, wait, what? I don't need to produce, I don't need to be here. I'm just literally just going to be taking in the information. And to this day, even as far as just your podcast and everything that you got going on, you're doing amazing. You're
I
doing
appreciate
amazing.
that. I'm gonna tell you something. It was when we first started on radio. We needed all the help that we could get.
No, you didn't.
It was Sean, it was Dr. Eve, and it was myself. And so we asked some questions, and then we relied on JaNeise. And here's the thing: we were all saying like, okay, if JaNeise had a day off, we're like, oh man, so we were all concerned about how the show was gonna turn out. So yeah, you was helping us produce some stuff out there, boy.
Oh no,
But how you been, sis? How you been doing?
I've been, you know what? I've been great. I've been great. As great as I can be, of course, with everything that's transpired, of course, it's had its effect and toll on people. But I chose, not to allow what's going on in the world to affect my world. So I've been literally just been, ever since Radio One days, I've been, working on just building my brand as far as my mentorship program and just doing things as far as ministry as well. I mean, I think I came to your church.
You did. You came to Victory.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about all this stuff because she's got a lot going on, you guys. So I'm telling you, this young lady, if you are in the DC area, we'll get to giving her information. You definitely gotta have her come and love on your people. I'm gonna tell you. So here's what we're gonna start talking about because most folks don't know. Let's talk about your life first. Can we do that? Yeah, let's talk about your life because she's got an amazing life. From modeling to traveling overseas, all that good stuff. So tell us a little bit about some of the personal side.
Who is JaNeise? Who is JaNeise? Honestly, I think that's so great as far as just because when you let people know who you are, it gives them an understanding as far as why you do what you do. And just to kind of give a brief, I guess, bio in a sense. I'm a PK. My parents, Pastor James E. and Pamela D. Sturdivant, we reside. Our church is located in Forestville, Maryland. But we started out in DC, Northeast DC, and then we moved out to Maryland, Faith United Ministries. And it's just been one of those things. As far as being a PK, it's a journey in itself.
Yeah, you know what? People don't and we throw that term around, and then folks who don't go to church don't know what that means. Sometimes, as a pastor's kid. That's what we say, PKs. And just growing up with your parents, being pastors, I know there was a stigma, there was expectations on you. Did you feel? I mean, your dad. I met your dad. He don't seem like he's like the pressure guy. He seems like he's real chill.
He's the older we get, the more calmer we become.
Yeah.
So, when we was growing up, he was still chilled, but he just had expectations. As a father, he had expectations as far as what he wanted his kids to do and be. Our life literally was church every day. We were in church Monday through Friday. My parents believed that we should have something that we should fall back on outside of just, school. So my brothers, they were in music. They played piano and drums. And then my sister, I have a twin sister. We were in dance and modeling. So our life literally Monday through Friday, school and church. Saturday, we did our dance and modeling. And then Sunday, we was back in church. And that was literally the schedule every week. So you can only imagine. We went to private school, junior high school's years and all of that. And then high school, we went to the most prestigious Eleanor Roosevelt High School in the PG County, Maryland area.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That's a greenback.
Right. I just had to put that plug in, ERHS. But that transition from a private school to a public school in itself was just, what in the world? This is a different world for real. And not to show different world, but this is a different world just because you coming from private school, which is structured and rules, to public school, which is, still has structure, but the rules were different. And then going to Howard University. Oh man, living on campus outside of your parents' rules. He's got a little.
When we took my oldest daughter to her orientation, it was
where?
University of Maryland.
Okay.
And so when she went, she kind of, my wife couldn't go, so I had to go. They took her off with the RAs, and she was going to stay one night.
Yeah.
And then come back, just kind of get used to how it's going to be. Right. So they had all his parents in the big, huge auditorium, and the guy wrote on this whiteboard. He said, "Let me write this word down here for you guys, so you parents can see what is in the hearts of your children." He wrote the word freedom. He said that's the first thing that's in their mind. They don't have you to tell them what to do. They can do what they want, eat what they want, how they want. So then he went on. He said they'll have you'll see their grades on a website, but they have access to that. Yeah. And because they're adults, we don't give it to the parents. So most parents call asking for the grades. He gave this horror story about one of the students who lied to her parents.
Oh, wow.
That she graduated, said she didn't want to walk. I don't care about on a walk. Started working in the field. And the father was like, okay, well, I need a degree. I want to put it up. And she lied for years. He finally got in touch with somebody at the school, and they told her shit. She never graduated. Oh my gosh, she lied. So I panicked. As soon as we had that break, I got on the phone. Hey, Karen, you know what he said? This guy told her the whole story, and then she said, "Oh, wait! I already got the password." And I told her the first time she don't give it to us or change it, she got to pay herself. I'm like, all right, cool. But you didn't do that to your parents, did you?
Exactly. So it was the same thing with my father. My mother didn't go on the campus with us, so it was the same thing. My father went on the campus, but they told my father. Even as far as we was trying to fill out the paperwork and everything, or he was trying to fill it out rather, and they told him, no, that's not your job anymore. Like, they're now considered adults. And in his mind, he was thinking they just graduated from high school in May. How are they considered? And they were living under my roof in May. How at August they're now considered adults 3 or 4 months later? So they told him to not fill out nothing, to not, do anything. And of course, we weren't really as knowledgeable because we didn't. So, I mean, we were signing up for credit cards, got credit cards. We was just...
I know, because they come at you.
They come at you.
Stuff. Yep.
So we were putting ourselves in debt. Didn't even know we was doing that. You know what I mean? And then literally just, it was a freedom. But of course, we wasn't as mature as far as just understanding what we were signing and what we were doing. But me personally, just that freedom. And I wouldn't say that I wasn't free under my parents' roof. I wouldn't say that. It was just, they had their rules and everything. So we lived a very structured life, and then, of course, because my parents are pastors, some of the things that, teenagers did, we didn't really do, so probably like around our 12th grade year, as far as like really hanging out and all of that. So I felt like I missed out. So I kind of made it up, my first year. I feel like I missed out so much as far as my high school years. I was like, let me make this up while I'm in college. No, but I mean, outside of that, and then like I stated, because my parents put us in modeling and dancing. So myself and my sister, we did modeling and dancing when we were younger. Probably when we were like around 7 or 9. That was always every Saturday. And then once we got into our junior high school years, we stopped. We stopped doing that because it's like, we got too old. We've been doing this for so many years. Right. But I personally, once I was, not doing school, I actually opened up the modeling door again. Okay. And I actually pursued modeling full time, as far as just doing some things in the DMV area. And I've had the opportunity to work with some great designers and makeup artists and all of that. So, I mean, DC Fashion Week, I was able to do New York Fashion Week as well. Then I relocated and just wanted to get away from everybody. I wanted to like move from family and went all the way to the West Coast. Look, you're not going to drive up the street to see me. You got to get on a plane.
Wow, did you? You went out there by yourself?
I went out there. It was me and a friend of mine, one of my girlfriends to this day. And we relocated and lived in California for about a couple of years, 2.5 years, something like that. It was like, you know what? I wanted to be in the area where I could pursue modeling and acting. I also wanted to just kind of be away because I was doing so much as far as church and ministry. Mind you, as a PK, you're doing everything to support your family in the ministry. Right. So it's literally just, my life was to support them and make sure that their dreams and goals came to pass. But it took a lot from me as far as just like, I'm focusing so much on this that I kind of lost me in the process. So that whole transition of relocating was not just a physical thing. It was emotional. It was mental. It was everything. And I love California. California was great. It was great for me. Got a chance to work with some people and be a part of some shoots and, I auditioned for America's Next Top Model, just did some things as far as just pursuing that. But, as anything, you still kind of feel an emptiness when you're not really doing when you're called to do. Right. So although it was great experiences, and when I tell people like I lived in California and I got a chance to meet, Tyra Banks and different other people and stuff like that, they're excited and it was great. But it wasn't really like my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's been so many stages.
So how did you slide into that purpose? Because now, here's how I know you. Sure. I know you, that grace to help young ladies. And when I watched you, I've watched some of your things and videos. Then when you came to our church and you were talking, boy, it was so lit when you came. What got you to that point? Was that a reflection of, okay, here's what I learned through my life, so I want to show you guys? Is that what it came? Because here's what I believe. Exactly. Sometimes your misery becomes your ministry. And so
go ahead, sir.
I know, girl, you can keep it for a little bit, but just make sure you send me a check and you use it. I used to say to the radio all the time because I felt like that. I felt like some of the things that I'd gone through that's horrible, God got me out. And then now I'm able to teach it. Think about with Moses, if you go back to school now we're preaching. I didn't intend to do this.
Nah, I know. I love it though.
But Moses, okay, he led the children of Israel through the wilderness, but he was in the wilderness 40 years prior.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, how can you lead the people through stuff that you haven't walked through?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like the same thing was happening with you?
It's all about, for me, I'm learning this, that process, and whatever process, we all go through different processes in our lives. But each process that you go through, it teaches you a lesson. There's always a lesson through every storm. And although, like I said, California was the birthplace to a lot of things for me. I was going through there, and when I was in California, my relationship with my parents got even stronger. I mean, we were good, but we got stronger. I literally was talking to them every day. I was crying to them because I just felt like, okay, who am I? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Once I separated myself from supporting them, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I knew the whole modeling thing, was something that I just had experience in, but it wasn't really something that made me happy. It wasn't something that like fulfilled me, if that makes sense. So I got this experience and I'm comfortable with it, but it didn't fulfill anything. And I just felt like time was wasting. I mean, I'm in my 20s. I felt like, okay, I should be doing more. Like I really should be doing more. And as a result of that, I was like, okay, my father was like, you got to get into the Bible, reconnect, your relationship with God. Because what you're supposed to be doing as far as your purpose, he will tell you, he will let you know. And so there were some dark moments, literally, and I'm not saying as far as like a negative thing, but there were some moments when, I was crying. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to talk to anybody because I just felt like I'm just wasting my life away. And then I was reading scripture. And I literally was specific and asked God, why did you keep me? Why am I still here? Why am I still living? What am I supposed to be doing? And I had to wait. I didn't get the answer right away, but I had to wait for him to tell me this is what you're supposed to be doing. As far as when I was pursuing the modeling myself and just working and seeing other young ladies, very glamorous as far as the outside, very pretty. They carried themselves a certain way. Their makeup was good. Their hair was done. But what I found out, John, is that a lot of these girls, when I started talking to them, they were struggling with, and I also went through the same thing, areas of low self-esteem. They were struggling with their confidence. Although, again, you couldn't tell based off of how they look because you're auditioning, you're doing this, and you're presenting yourself. That's what modeling is. Modeling is we're presenting the designer's work. We're presenting the makeup line. We're presenting ourselves, but it's not our true selves. It's what people want us to look like, what they want to see us in, but it's not who we really are. And so even me, like I went through that phase of caring about what people thought about me as far as how I look. And when you're in that industry, you're being told, no, you're not what we're looking for at this time. You're not tall enough. Your complexion is too brown skin. Your breasts may be too big, your hips. And they're literally critiquing you, literally about your look, the way that God created you.
I'm sure they had a problem with just asserting your self-esteem, especially if you're something that you think you love,
Right. Like literally, you can be. I can go to an audition. I'm feeling good. I leave the house. I feel great. All right. I got my make. I'm looking good. And then you go to an agency or go to an audition or a call, and then you present yourself to them, and they ask you questions, and then they look at you and all of that, and then they say you're not what we're looking for. I can have as much of a thick skin as I want and have all the layers of thick skin. But eventually that starts to play, to your confidence, your self-esteem. Just like even now, I'm thinking about Lizzo. She's an artist. And she just was crying on her social media page. She's a plus size woman, and she's confident. You can tell she's confident. But then when people start tearing her as far as her weight and her appearance and all of that, she was on YouTube. I mean, she was on Instagram. She was crying because you can only take but so much as far as people criticizing you. And these are the same people who are just as flawed, who have their issues, who have their struggles and weaknesses, and yet you want to talk about somebody else as if it's nothing.
Right.
So that kind of plays into your self-esteem, your confidence, and all of that. And when I started to see not only myself, but also other, females and other young people also struggling with that, And I'm like, okay, how can I? Because I know I went through a process. I had a mentor, I had my parents, and they kind of showed me some things as far as how to work through building your self-confidence up and building your self-esteem up and your self-worth, because I started, even just to be transparent, because I was tore down a lot, I was looking for that acceptance from other people, even if it wasn't the best acceptance for me.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
I got myself.
I think there's a lot of us like that.
Yeah.
Some of us are bold enough to admit it, but you do feel good when people are telling you something good. So if you got a whole, oh my God, here's another scripture.
Yeah, I love it. You got the oil on you today. Come on, I think this is Monday, and yesterday was Sunday. I think that's what it is. Okay,
it must be that. And the proverb says, "To the desperate, the bitter is sweet." So when you are not hearing things that are positive or negative all the time, it could be one compliment somewhere, you're gonna gravitate to that because we want to feel built up, And I know I've heard people say, well, David encouraged himself. Okay, that was David. Not that I'm not trying to teach what David is, but it do feel good to hear somebody tell you that you look good, this is nice, you're wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, even as far as encouraging yourself, I'm sure David went through some times when he actually poured out his heart with doubt, what I mean, or just guilt and shame, because he made some choices and done some things that brought about guilt and shame, and which we all have done, So it's one of those things where that process of getting you back, or just getting to know you or reintroduce yourself to you, that was a process that I had went through, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, while I was physically in California, away from everybody. And I felt lonely, and I felt, it was a lonely time, but it was the time that was best for me, because once I got back from the West Coast to the East Coast, that's when my ministry, my business, and everything just kind of opened up a little bit more.
All right. And so now some of these young ladies, I'm sure, because you've been doing this for a little while, you got some good.
I know you guys for years. People don't, even though I got back from California in 2013, but that wasn't the start of it. I was youth minister. I mean, again, I'm a PK. I'm a pastor's kid. So we were put in positions. We were ushers. We were youth ministers. We were armor bearers and adjutants.
Yeah.
we held the offering basket. We did almost.
You go down and listen to that. We was a cleaning crew.
We cleaned the church. We cleaned the church. We did everything that you can think. Everything that you can think of. So as far as me working with the young people, I was literally over the youth ministry. I taught the dance ministry. I was working with young people even when I was a teenager. Okay. So that door was open a long time ago, but it was when I came back from California was when I actually birthed it into my own ministry outside of me doing it at the church. That makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
JaNeise.
JaNeise. That's just JaNeise backwards. Just JaNeise backwards a little bit.
I was gonna tell you what JaNeise means. Okay, that's pretty slick.
It's literally the Ja, and then it's just JaNeise, Neise, just kind of spelled backwards, because I still wanted a part of me, which is my name, in my business. So you're not gonna really see a JaNeise, and if you see JaNeise, that's me.
I know they're still copyright, right? Trademark.
Exactly.
Look, okay. In some of these programs, I know I saw you do some vision boards. What are some of the things that you do with these young girls? Because they're so engaged and you're bringing things out of them that they don't realize they have in them.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's literally, so one of the main things that I am proud of is like you stated, the vision board. I'm big on goal setting, and affirmations. I'll start with the goal setting. The goal setting, and that is one of the activities and things we do, is the vision board. Because when you think about goal setting, you're now putting yourself in the position as far as fulfilling a purpose, fulfilling, something as far as a desire, a goal. This day and time, this generation, they really don't think about their future. So even when I have conversations with young people and I ask you, well, what do you want to do? Or what do you see yourself being in 5 years? They say, I don't know. Because they never thought about it. And they never actually taken the time to sit and consider, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? What, what fulfills me? What do I see myself? So when you do goal setting, you literally have to think about your life and not what somebody tells you that you should be doing, but what you want to do for yourself. So we do vision boards. We do, boards.
I'm getting ready to do this. Really?
Yeah.
Girl, keep preaching. I need to hear this.
No, it's so true. Like I have a vision board, and the thing is, this is blank right now because I literally was working on it, and then I had actually, stopped and erased it so I can do it again with another group. But I have this wall board that I keep on my wall in my house, and I put stickers on it, good vibes. But I also have Post-it notes. And so when I do activities, I'm literally have this whole board full of Post-it notes as far as goals that you want to complete. And it's literally for the next 6 months. What are those goals? And we fill the whole board.
Okay, so the board is not really necessary because I've seen people take pictures, they post pictures on it. So yours is pretty much just words, so you can see here's what my goals are.
Exactly, and you can hang it up literally on the wall wherever you are. That's easy for you to see, and you're looking at that. And then once you accomplish that goal, you take that Post-it note off, so that by the end of the 6-month period, the board should be clear, meaning you did all those goals. That makes sense. So. Yeah, between goal settings or even as far as just mentoring, and I do this with the young ladies more because we kind of are more emotional, if you will. So we'll do different exercises as far as having them get in touch with the inner self, the inner you. So there's been workshops where we literally had a whole mirror. When I tell you it was a whole mirror, and they literally had to tell me or tell themselves what they saw in the mirror. I mean, it's just doing different exercises that have them focus on personal development, but then also professional development. Personal development as far as building themselves up within their self-confidence and all of that, but then professional as far as goal setting and accomplishing goals, whether you want to get your driver's license and all of that, whatever that is. So we focus on building personal and professional development.
I like that. You know what? I was thinking about something like we were talking about the emotions, and I think I talked to some of the young men. They won't admit they have emotional issues, but some of them brothers, them young dudes, they have some emotional stuff going on. It just comes out in anger and foolishness. Where I guess the young ladies, would you say they're more open to admit, hey, here's what I'm feeling emotionally, where the young guys are just not going to tell yet?
You know what? Even some of the young ladies not gonna tell you.
Really?
So the approach I try to take, because I work with both young men and young women. The approach that I try to take is I provide tools, and we'll talk about that when we get into the book. I'll provide tools that have you see your areas as far as you have to work on, rather than me telling you this is what it is. Like, I'm not going to tell you, oh, you're angry. But I might have you do certain things as far as activities. If we're in person, we'll do like different physical activities or things like that that will show you how you are. Because sometimes people may not actually, want to admit or know how to admit, oh, I am frustrated, you know what I mean? Or I do carry this. So we're going to do activities, and then it's, oh, so how did you see yourself in that activity? And then they'll say, oh, I see I don't have a lot of patience, or I see, that I get jealous easy. And they'll just be different things. And so now you're able to see about yourself, rather than, because sometimes if somebody tell you, oh, you're a jealous person, that shuts somebody down immediately. But if you're able to see that for yourself, then it's like, okay, all right, now that I see that, what can I do to work on it?
Sometimes we're the last people to see who we are. That's good.
Yeah.
Pull it out now. You can say, okay. And if you're honest with yourself, I saw I was impatient in this little workshop here, and I need to work on this. Yeah,
because we put ourselves outside of, and what you had mentioned earlier as far as PKs, pastors' kids, and they put different stigmas and expectations of us. We as well, just as people, we put ourselves on a pedestal. We put ourselves as far as, I would never do this. Oh, I'm not that type of person. And we have our own selves on a pedestal that we created. So sometimes, like you stated, it's hard for us to even look at ourselves because I don't want to look at myself in that light. I don't want to see me being that way. So we don't change, or we continue to just be in denial as far as how we are. So how can you get to the real you or work on the real you if you're always in denial of who you really are?
Wow.
Good.
You know, this ain't just for kids.
But I tell you, I'm sometimes I be encouraging myself too, but it literally is. And the program, even as far as what I'm doing, whether it's books or anything like that, and I let people know there's no age, to it. But I think because this is some of the expectations people put on me. Oh, JaNeise, you've been working with youth all the time. That's all you know. No, it's not. Because I've also have done and been blessed to have opportunities where I've been able to minister and share to adults as well. And they have been changed. So, once you know your purpose and what you do and what you're supposed to do, God will allow the opportunities, to happen where who is supposed to be for, as far as who receives it, that's who it's supposed to be for.
Yeah, well, I seen you preaching in that pulpit. I saw it online.
What you talking about?
Yeah, you preach at your daddy's church. I still was creeping and looking at that. I said, "Oh, look at him preaching." Okay.
No, it's just sharing a little bit about the book, a little bit about the
Bible. No, this is a while ago. I'm talking about a while ago. This is some years ago. You was up on a Sunday, and I said, "Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna talk about that right now. I can put you out there. Give me a word, because you have people calling for a word." But let's slide into that book, because self-check. Now, I have peeped out a couple of your interviews and conversations that you had online, and man, you said some good stuff. And I don't want to, because see, I can lead into this. I'm like, I want this to flow, because if somebody's watching this, and I want you to flow and talk to them about, what is important about, why is it important about having a self-check. I love the stuff that I heard you say. So hopefully you say it here. So what's the book about? Come on, let's talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I am truly proud. The blessing part about this book is, I gotta tell you, John, is that even when everything was shut down during the pandemic, I have been blessed to be able to release the book. So I was excited, and it just ended up being such a perfect time, because who knew it was gonna be a pandemic? Right. Who knew that we was gonna be shut down and we had to force and look at ourselves in certain aspects or different aspects? Who knew that? But of course, God, who is just time, everything just was orchestrated. But self-check, of course, again, was birthed as a result of me having to check myself. As I told you all, when I was in California, that was literally like that was my turning point as far as just getting to know who JaNeise is. What's my purpose? I was already going through before California, I was going through just a lot of rejection as far as being told no. And mind you, I'm a twin, as I stated. So imagine being compared to all your life, when people instantly hear you, you're a twin. Okay, so which one are you? Well, I'm JaNeise, and that's Jeanette. But who's the good one? So now why does it have to be in comparison? Right. So we literally, to this day, people still do that. Oh, you're the twin that was, oh gosh, people just won't let you live and be. But so I was being compared all the time to my twin sister. So I didn't really feel like I had my own identity in a sense, because it was JaNeise and Jeanette. And because I was one that kind of held things in, my sister, she pretty much did all the talking for us growing up, as far as she was the more outspoken one. So I didn't really feel like I had a voice. I didn't really feel like what I wanted to say, and even if it wasn't anything specific, but what I wanted to say was, wanting to be heard. So I was kind of quiet from that aspect, got tired of being compared to, was always focusing on everybody else's dreams and goals and saying yes to whatever, and never took the time out as far as what I want to do and discover that part. So when I was in California and just in that transition of just trying to get through the rejection, trying to get through just who am I and what am I supposed to do? I went into the scriptures, and as I told you all, as far as discovering things. And then that's when I kind of realized, okay, so here's some of the stuff that I know that I'm dealing with, and some of the other people, as far as the models that I, came in contact with, and just other young people, as far as our self-confidence, that's something that I was struggling with. My self-esteem, that's something that I was struggling with. I was in relationships with people that wasn't the best relationship, because I was looking for that self-affirmation, or just that value, or something. I don't know what I was looking for. So I just got into relationships. So I was like, okay, self-worth. What is my worth? Do I know my worth? Clearly I don't, because I keep on getting into dumb relationships looking for my worth. So having to discover who what my worth is, self-care, and do I take the time out to self-care? So literally, and I'm just naming the chapters that's in my book, self-check, because I had to check myself. And can I tell you, to this day, I'm still literally checking myself. I'm checking myself because I'm changing on the regular basis. And the way that I was thinking and moving last year, I'm not thinking and moving like that. And so even with this book, each chapter, even if it's like, okay, the first chapter is literally talking about self-confidence. And it's literally you discovering who you are. The first thing literally asks you, have you ever asked yourself, who are you? That's literally the first question of, who am I? And like I stated, even I was one of those ones where people would ask me, well, who are you? Or if I was going to an audition, well, tell me something about yourself. And I couldn't really answer that, And when I tell people about myself, I'm telling them about, well, I am, I got these accolades, and I got, these certificates and degrees, and I'm telling them all the things that I've accomplished. But what I've accomplished is not who I am. It's just what I've done. But now
say that again, lady. That's a good word right there. That's good right there.
What I've accomplished is what I've done. It's not who I am. So yes, I have the degrees. Yes, I have, all of the letters and awards and stuff. I have that. I've done well with that. But that's not who I am, because if that's the case, then who was I before I got the degrees and the awards and stuff? Right. So I literally had to separate and understand that your identity is not based off of what you've done or your titles, as you will if we go from church perspective. If I am a minister, that's who I am as far as what I do, but that's not my identity, because I'm not ministering when I go to bed. I'm not ministering when I'm, so it's that process of discovering who is JaNeise, and who are you outside of your family, outside of being a PK, outside of you being a twin? Who are you? What makes you different? What makes you stand out? What makes you unique? Literally going through that process. And each chapter has its own set of activities based off of what the topic is. So if it's self-confidence, we got activities that help you focus on your confidence. Then each chapter have scriptures that can kind of give you some affirmation based off of what the Bible says as far as your self-confidence. And then each chapter has, a mirror moment. So you literally just got to kind of reflect on what you learned about yourself in that chapter as far as your self-confidence. And then you move on to self-esteem, and you go through that same process. And I always tell people, it's not a thing where you just kind of stop just because the book is over. Because the book is just a tool. But as I stated, I'm still growing and learning me. I'm learning me to this day. I'm learning my changes. The older I'm getting, I'm learning how my mood switches, more frequently. I'm learning different things about me. So now I have to look and, check myself as far as, was your confidence the way it was before? Because something can happen and trigger, like for the audition calls, where I went for the model calls, and my confidence was high, but as soon as somebody said something and I was in a vulnerable, low place, my confidence went low. So everything changes. But this book is literally a self-discovery book as far as you knowing you outside of what other people may say you are. And hey, guess what, John? You can't blame nobody when you go through this journey. You can't blame your mom, your father. Most times when I'm talking to young people and I ask them certain questions, they'll say, oh, well, my mom ain't do this. And my dad ain't do this. So that's why my life is like this. And that's why I'm like that and all that. And we can give all those blaming to everybody. But then after you say, okay, now that we know your mom didn't do this and your dad didn't do this, who are you? And that's what the book Self-Check is about.
I had to go through that for years, in my own life. My I didn't have my dad wasn't around. We knew him when I was younger.
Okay.
But my dad was actually married.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we had all, that came out later on. We found that out later on as we got older. But then for years, there were certain things that I did at elementary school, and I was told, he didn't have a dad. He didn't have a dad. And then this happened. He didn't have a dad. He didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
Till it got ingrained in us that the reason why I was carrying on or things were going on is because I didn't have a father.
Right.
And so it gives you that where, okay, this is your crutch. This is your excuse. Or this is why you'll never be able to do this because this psychologist told you this is what it was. And my mama said it. I'm saying it. And now we're operating in a spiritual principle by establishing ourselves in something. And that's a stronghold. And I was like, well, I had no dad. So I joke about it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm free from it. So if I bowl a lot, if I miss a spare, I say, y'all know I ain't had no daddy. If I had a daddy, I'd took that spare.
That's how I went to the gutter.
Yeah, that's why I went to the gutter because I threw a gutter ball because my daddy was around. I joke about it now, but that is so key because sometimes we allow people who we think are the professionals to tell us who we are, and we don't get identity from the word. And that's why I'm so glad you got scriptures in there because now the scriptures will help emerge who you really are supposed to be in Christ.
Yeah.
You said something. I am going to pull something out that I heard you say.
Please.
About, and I love the analogy about this, and you said it kind of here. You're always changing. You always go back. Like you said, we would never not go get a regular checkup. I heard you say that before.
Oh,
physically.
I remember that, but it was so in a moment. I remember.
Yeah, and so why would we not do this, man? Go ahead, and walk that thing. Go ahead.
Wow, you're a good listener and have a good memory.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's true. If we do that, like you said, if we do that physically, and some people don't. We talk about the people who regularly go get checkups. You're supposed to go get a physical every year. If you don't, we go get checkups. Why wait till something goes wrong?
Yeah, that's literally. You know what? Because when you think about it, in all seriousness, we go to the dentist every 6 months.
Right.
Twice a year to make sure whatever cleaning, whatever is dirty, in our mouths is cleaned. Whatever is infected, is in the process or in a journey of, recovering. And even as far as, like you said, the physical, we go through that. We get physical, we get checked. And I literally just had my physical last week, and they're checking everything from my blood pressure to my weight. And they'll say, Miss JaNeise, this is what your weight was last year. This is your weight this year. What's going on? Oh, this is your blood pressure, last year. And they'll compare as far as just what you were then and what you are now, just to kind of see if there's been any type of change or anything like that. Well, if we're doing that physically, why aren't we doing that emotionally as far as checking ourselves from, okay, well, my confidence was right here, last year, where is it this year? Because if you are constantly changing and growing, and then don't let life happen like the pandemic, or don't let you experience a trauma or a traumatic situation, that plays a part. Even as far as in our car, you think about your car, your dashboard, your lights will come on as far as a warning if something needs to be changed. You'll get a maintenance light that comes on.
Right.
You'll get your pressure on your tires is kind of low. You need to get that, and we get those warning signs. So as we do as far as our physical cells, our body would tell us certain things as far as warnings, as far as what we need to do. If you're going too much, your body is telling you need to slow down. You'll start getting a pain or ache or somewhere like, okay, you need to slow down. Or if you just constantly moving and not sleeping, your body is giving you that warning of, okay, you're getting headaches. You know what I mean? You need to go get some sleep. We do all of that, but we never take the time as far as trying to better ourselves emotionally. And I've found that it's all a connecting factor. Your emotions, your mental, your spiritual, your physical, all of it connects. You can't be focusing on, I got back into the gym, John. I got back into the gym, trying to ease my way back into getting into the gym. Trying to, focus on this whole thing as far as just being healthy, not blaming COVID for, any type of weight gains. So I'm trying to get back to the gym, And so even as far as working on this physical part, it's not just the physical part with the exercise. It's also me getting the sleep that I need. It's also me eating healthy. Everything connects as far as what we do with ourselves. You can't just say, oh, I'm just literally just going to focus on the physical part of me and not focus on my spirit. Or I'm going to focus on the mental part of me and make sure that's straight, but not focus on my emotional. All of it connects. And what we do is you try to pick out the good as far as what's easy, what's more convenient, and focus on that. But then when I was doing that, that's when I felt that emptiness of something still is not right. Something is not right. Like I've relocated and I'm thinking because I left the East Coast and left my family that everything would be okay. And I got on the West Coast, but I still wasn't fulfilled because it wasn't just about me relocating physically. It's about me having to work on some things emotionally and spiritually.
Wow. That's good because everything does connect. Yeah. We miss that sometimes. So how am I going to walk in my wholeness if I'm not dealing with my wholeness?
You're talking right, sir. But it's so simple, but yet it's so hard for us to do. It's so simple because literally what we do is just try to do what's convenient for us or what's easy. And so when you're really checking yourself and self-check, it's kind of hard for us to look at the man in the mirror because you have to look at your flaws and all. You have to look at, the pedestal you put yourself on. You have to look at how am I when I take my makeup off, when I take my hair out, when I take, everything off and I strip myself naked. Do I really like what I see? Jesus, and if I don't like what I see, how can I expect somebody else to like me when I don't even like what I see? So that self-check is so important as far as just discovering the real you. That's the whole purpose of it. And it's for any gender, it's for any age, because even like my parents, and their age group, they have people they are, and then there's also people their age that's checking themselves because what you saw or how you saw yourself in your 40s and your 50s, you're not that same way in your 60s.
That's right.
And even couples. I did a podcast with my parents because I wanted to hear as a couple, how is it that you maintain checking yourself individually while you're connected and walking through this journey of life with a partner? So I did a podcast with them because even though they're married to death do them part and they're one, but they're still two individuals. You know what I mean? So that checking yourself is so necessary. And I knew people wasn't going to really jump on it like that because when you have to take ownership of you, it's a hard thing, especially when we put a facade out on social media, on the world.
We paint that picture like, that, we hide behind that. But there's some people that their flesh come out of that because sometimes I don't ever get this. I don't understand it. Why do you, I'll see a post and somebody will go, I'm so frustrated right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on, boo? And it's like, okay, so you need some help. So that's a cry for help. So that's how I take it, So I don't put it out there. If I'm gonna hit somebody up, I'm gonna go to your inbox and go, okay, what's going on? So you posted it. I'm not gonna put it out here for everybody to see.
Directly message,
Yeah, if you really need some help, you're gonna hit me back there, or you're gonna keep talking so everybody can see it because you want that attention.
But that's a whole another issue in itself.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm gonna back just a little bit. But you talked about married couples, and if you're married out here. In a minute, we're about to close this because I want JaNeise to tell how you can get in touch with her. Sometimes I've talked to people, JaNeise, who are married, especially men, and they don't realize that, your spouse is changing. Even if you're not thinking about it. And most of the time I find it's the man I'm talking to who's like, okay, she's different. She didn't used to do this.
Yeah.
Dude, she's transforming. You transform. You just don't recognize it. Or maybe you're not. But okay, the kids are grown, they're gone, and now things are changing. And so that's where that check comes in. Okay, let's check even what my emotions are. Let's check to see where we are as a couple. That's good, JaNeise. Yep. Are we at the same place? Do we have the same goals? If we haven't talked about the same vision. Because some couples don't talk about it. You're just so busy with the kids and working and paying the mortgages and all that, then you lose sight of what's your real purpose when you were young and you were dreaming.
Yeah, and my parents literally they were transparent. And they were saying, even because before the pandemic, we were just all busy. And I was just really trying to figure out, like, what were we all busy doing? Like, even myself, like, why were we just constantly moving? But when we actually was shut down and you had to actually be with yourself or be with your partner, my parents were saying how they literally had to kind of relearn each other all over again. They had to learn each other as far as how they move individually. They had to, revisit some of the things that they had stated that they were going to be working on as a couple, beginning of the year, and have they gotten to that point? And you have to go through that. I try to have, even when I do on my podcast, I try to have different perspectives, whether it's couples or even, I have a family who do it as in a household where the parents and the kids are self-checking together as a family. And it's just something that, you can incorporate with your children. You can incorporate just amongst everybody, because you're never too old. You're never too young to look at how you look at yourself and the goals that's, expected of you and your family. So that's the goal of this book, is to literally kind of have people get back. I think the world would kind of be in a different place if we're not really focused on what everybody else is doing, but we're focusing on ourselves and bettering ourselves.
Yeah, because you can't really love nobody until you love yourself first. And
Right.
Scripture tells us that,
Yeah.
you got to love ourselves, and that's where we can, I told folks when they use that scripture, well, I'm loving. Okay, well, you left me. I was just running a little bit late. Okay, well, are you loving me like you're supposed to love yourself? Yeah, because I expect people to leave me if I'm late. No, don't love me like that. That's why Jesus had to come back in John 13 and said, love me like I love you.
Like, it's an order to it. Love the Lord your God with all your heart first.
Yeah.
Then love your neighbor as yourself. So you love God, you love you, and then you love your neighbor. That's the order of it.
Yeah. All right. Now you do travel around, and you go to churches, and you take on clients, all that stuff. Because we got a friend, Sherry Cooper. You did some stuff with my girl Sherry. Shout out to Sherry, the Honeybee University. I'm gonna give a shout out.
Yes. Hey.
So you do some things out and about. Let the folks know what you do.
Oh man, I have been blessed to be one that is a youth minister, a youth advocate, one who just pretty outside of just young people. I'm empowering. That's my purpose, is to empower this generation, young adults. So anything as far as being able to travel, whether it's in the country or out of the country, to be able to motivate and empower and to just kind of get people reconnected with themselves and then reconnected with God. That's the mission. That's the goal.
Okay. How can I get? We got some folks out there listening, going, okay, how I get in touch with her?
Literally everything is. I try to keep it simple for everybody. My website is www.JaNeiseSturdivant.com.
Okay.
My Facebook is under JaNeise Sturdivant. My Instagram is under JaNeise Sturdivant. So everything is literally under JaNeise Sturdivant. And either one of those platforms, my website or anything like that, you can just send a message, send me a direct message, and I will respond back. I don't have an assistant. I don't have nobody. I'm going to respond back directly.
See, that's good sometimes. Yeah. I've been dealing with certain folks, and, there's, especially when you're on the radio, when you're talking to folks, you talk to publicists and everybody else, and they might forget you. Oh, I did talk to him. He's going to come. But let me find out they confirm, like, oh my goodness.
Right.
And sometimes if I can catch them directly through Instagram, they hit me back. I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Right. Yes. I would definitely do that.
Yeah. So we can get you.
Just me, please. It's literally just me. I know what that process feels like. Again, I'm a PK. I've seen it. So no, it would literally be just me.
Okay. All right. If you had to give somebody something closing out and tell them something and give them something to think about, or something that's in your heart, what would you say right now? Because I got the Vision for Change podcast, and I'm all about the vision and everything. So I mean, what would you tell them? And that has to be vision. What else is on your heart? No,
it would kind of tie into vision. I think ultimately, be true to you, and don't allow the stigma or the expectations of other people to alter or change how you view you. And that's literally from my heart to yours. You've heard my testimony, as a result of I allowed people's expectations to affect me. And it took me through a process that is rewarding now, because I'm able to do what I do as a result of the process. But if you're able to prevent going down that downward spiral, don't allow other people's opinions. The greatest deliverance, I believe, is the opinions of others. And when you don't allow what other people's opinions affect you, that's such a great deliverance, because now I can live my life in such a freedom where I'm not focused on how it makes you feel. I'm focused on what God says and what is best for me.
That's good. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
That's so good. That's right. Because we can be pigeonholed into how somebody sees us, and now we're living according to their definition.
Right.
Oh, JaNeise, I'm so grateful, my sister. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
man,
you.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
loving on us. And you guys, please go by her website, go by her YouTube page.
Yeah.
You just got a little taste of who this woman of God is. She's a wonderful person. And if she comes and you get her in a contract, whatever you do with her, you will not regret that. It's a life-changing thing. And make sure you go get that book. How can I get that book? Self-check.
They can go on my website, www.JaNeiseSturdivant.com. It says book purchase. Click on that link and you will get it. I will autograph it and will have it sent to you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Miss JaNeise Sturdivant. Thank you, JaNeise. Love you so much.
Love you. I appreciate you. Thank you all.
Okay. Hey, family, listen, go by the podcast. You can go by the Vision for Change podcast. You can find it anywhere on Apple, Spotify, Google, all those wonderful places. Also, we've got a YouTube page, John Stevenson Online. Also, we got our church, the Vision for Change, our church, and we do our weekly Bible study at the wall. Let's remember, all things are possible if you can just believe. We love you. See you next week.